Okay, so this video was not an intended vlog. Instead, it was footage of a trip from Vancouver Island, BC to Prince George, BC. And I basically compiled all the footage together, having decided later to turn into a vlog. So basically the trip started when my sister and I flew to Vancouver, from Toronto to Vancouver, and met up with my other sister, my brother-in-law, and his friend. All of us together took our rental SUV onto a ferry and went from Vancouver. That ferry took us from Vancouver to Victoria, Vancouver Island, which is the capital city of BC, British Columbia. The ferry was massive. It had more than one floor for vehicles, and we were actually able to park our SUV and go up to the upper floors where they have a cafeteria, a shop, and lots of sitting space. Once we got to Victoria, it got pretty late by the time we left our Airbnb. All we really got to see was what the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia looked like at night.
Yo, that looks sick.
It wasn't until the next day that we actually got out during the day, and we drove to the city of Nanaimo, which is about an hour and a half drive just north of Victoria. It was a scenic drive. And then we reached Nanaimo to even better views.
What are they talking about? $800.
We wandered Nanaimo for a bit, then we went back to the Airbnb, and the following day we packed our stuff and took the ferry back to Vancouver. Once we got off the ferry, we drove 4 hours straight to Kelowna, BC, through the mountains. Once we got to Kelowna, again, the views got better. While we were in Kelowna, we also went out onto the Okanagan Lake with jet skis. This was my first time jet skiing. It took me a second, but I got the hang of it.
Okay, so we're pretty far out. Now we're gonna go under this bridge here. This is another bridge.
Then we parked the jet skis and we hopped on a boat. We took the boat to an island 40 kilometers out called Rattlesnake Island. We parked the boat, and my brother-in-law and I, we swam to the island, roamed around it for a bit, and we found these concrete mini golf holes. Unfortunately, we couldn't swim in the water to the island with our camera, but you can Google Rattlesnake Island, BC and see those mini golf holes.
No, they're close. It's not deep here too.
We then swam back to the boat, which, having turned it off, it wouldn't start back up again. And the water kept pulling the boat back in towards the island. Now, we had to prevent the boat from drifting into the island. My brother-in-law was in the water, swimming and pushing it away from the island. Then we found the emergency paddles, which my brother-in-law and I took one each, and we sat at the back of the boat with our legs hanging off, and we paddled the boat away from the island. Once we were far away enough from the island, we sat there and waited for the rental company to come out 40 kilometers to start the boat back up again. Eventually they got there and started the boat back up again. Then we found ourselves driving the boat back, and this time we were driving back through smoky air, which was caused by the BC forest fires. The next day, we all got up, packed our stuff, and we left Kelowna. We were headed on a 5-hour journey to Banff, Alberta. But before we got to Banff, we made one stop at the Golden Sky Bridge. This was a suspension bridge that wobbled 426 feet above a canyon. And if you crossed over this suspension bridge, the only way back was a second suspension bridge. After the bridge, we drove to Banff, Alberta, which was about another hour, and we visited Lake Louise in the evening, and it was beautiful.
So tomorrow morning, we'll call them right away. We'll be like, yo, you want to come? And book the room. Yeah, somebody's still out in the middle of the lake.
The next day in Banff, we went to Sulphur Mountain, and we took the gondola all the way up to the top. We reached the top, only to find that there was still a bit further to go. So we went, and this is what we saw. Then we went down the mountain and we drove to Lake Louise, this time during the day, and it was perfect for canoeing.
Don't worry, don't worry.
After canoeing in Lake Louise, we drove to another lake close by called Moraine Lake. There we took a dip in the icy 3 degrees Celsius water. The next day, we made one stop in Jasper for lunch, and then we headed for our final destination, Prince George. That brings us to the end of an incredible journey and to the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Now, I will see you all in the next video.